Yoruba is one of the major languages spoken in Nigeria, the most populous country in Africa. It has an actual community of about 30 million speakers throughout West Africa. They are a tribe that cherishes their culture and values. By custom, traditional rulers oversee their domains and act chiefly as custodians of culture. Often, they are accompanied and eulogized by royal bards and palace chanters. This is Ile-Ife in southwest of Nigeria. Every morning as the cock crows, the Ijala Oni salutes His Imperial Majesty the Oni with his chants. The Oni is reminded of his ancestry, cultural eminence, and the duty these impose on him towards his subjects. For an art of deep cultural significance, chanting has been a part of the Yoruba as far as human memory can travel. Having studied the significance of this form of verbal art through the popularization gained from the legendary Yoruba chanter Sulaimon Aremu Ayilara, nicknamed Ajobiewe, I decided to explore its place and use for cultural preservation in the 21st century. I visited Ajobiewe in his office and he explained how he was born into the tradition of chanting. As the only surviving child after 9 attempts by his parents, he developed a close affinity with them and picked up the art from infancy.
Bàbá mi ló kọ́ mi lóríkì, bàbá mi lóríkì púpọ̀. Àmọ́ bàbá mi ò lè tó torí àti dàgbà. 1870 something ni wọ́n bí bàbá mi. Ẹ wá wò èmi ni mo jẹ́ àkọ́bí, èmi náà mo jẹ́ last born. Bóyá ṣe búrẹ́dì tí mo kọ́ ní ìsìn mo lè sọ iye ọdún tí mo fi kọ́. Mo lè sọ iye ọdún tí mo fi ṣe. Kí ni sọ iye ọdún tí mo ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí pé ẹ̀sà. Ìmọ̀wé primary 6 náà mo kà. Primary 6 ọ̀nà ṣe dáadáa. Ọdún mẹ́wàá mo fi kà, mo bẹ̀rẹ̀ 1960, mo jáde 1970.
Growing up, one would wonder how he memorized the panegyrics and ancestral chants of many communities, families, clans, and traditional occupations with dance steps to add aesthetics to the local television series and movies he's been involved in. Always a delight to watch.
Ọmọ kékeré tó dẹ̀ ń tẹ́lú nǹkan bá àwọn jọ àwọn èèyàn lójú. So àwọn èèyàn tó máa lọ rí pera wọn lé. Gbogbo yẹn bí mo ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí lọ sí program yẹn ní rédíò nígbà yẹn, rédíò Nàìjíríà. Wọ́n ń ṣe program yẹn ní oríkì orílẹ̀. Gbogbo ẹ̀ ò ní ju bí ìṣẹ́jú mẹ́ta or ìṣẹ́jú márùn-ún gbà mí ìṣẹ́jú méjì. Àwọn rédíò láìkì mi. Bọ̀ ṣé máa ọlá ní pé kò sí òbí. Bàbá mi wà.
Though faced with many trials, Ajobiewe never saw those challenges as obstacles, but rather as stepping stones to greater heights. He did not only do well by receiving countless laurels, but has now become a role model to many youth who have decided to take praise chanting as a career. I got to speak with his son, Aziz, who has successfully replicated his father's prowess in the trade, but with the extra feather of a secondary school education.
I make myself that no one trained me about the chanting, or my dad said, come and do this, come and do this. No, I make myself there. Then I started doing it when I was young then. But my father said he won't let me to do that. That I should go to school. And I told him, I'm not going to school. I want to chant, I want to dance.
For him, it has been a fulfilling journey with other much more educated youth who are now flocking the craft, although it has always been associated with the illiterate. Now, some masters and even PhD holders feel more comfortable chanting than working with their degrees.
Let me say, the future of the chant should be like how the hip hop is moving now. That is how the chant will be 5 years to this time.
I thought to speak with a professor of Yoruba oral literature, and Professor Oladele Orimogunje came in handy. I visited him at the University of Lagos. The scholar took me on a journey of how the class of verbal art has helped the expression of the values of Yoruba society.
Verbal art we're talking of among the Yoruba, we have 3 categories. One is the chanting mode you are talking of. The other one is song, while the last one is the recitation. That's the recitative mode. These are the verbal arts used among the Yoruba pre- and post-colonial era. They use all these genres to reflect and express their beliefs, their faith, their religion, worldview, and social well-being.
But the professor of African Studies had only started explaining how the art of chanting has been so useful to hunters during their expedition, when he too fell into a baptism of reverie.
Ijala we are talking of, during their meeting, they'll be chanting it. And during their hunting expedition too, they'll be chanting it. After paying homage,
his voice changed.
Onere ẹ̀dá jolu wọ̀nran koríkodò tí ń rú mínìmí. Àwọn ẹni tí ó mètè ẹni tí ó mèrò. Wọ́n ní bógun lé wọn lọ́nà odò wọn máa bá tó kogi lọ.
In my quest to know more about how people have been impacted by the power of praise chanting, I heard of the experience of a UK-based Nigerian musicologist and culture ambassador, Dr. Ayobami Oyedare, whose encounter with the Ooni of Ife's royal chanter has remained unforgettable.
My first encounter with Ijala Ooni, I call him an encyclopedia of the Yoruba culture. And I walked him into the palace, for the first time, and he looked at me, asked me, who are you looking for? I said, well, I'm here to see His Majesty, but I've had some discussion with the CSO. He said, where are you from? I said, well, I'm from Ogbomoso. He said, we are in Ogbomoso. Which family house are you from in Ogbomoso? And I mentioned it. Now, he then started praise chanting of Ogbomoso and my family. Growing up and, coming all the way from UK, listening to him, wearing my suit, and I'm hearing something I've not heard for decades. For more than 2-3 decades. And I'm hearing somebody, giving me precisely to my family the praise chants, telling me precisely who I am. And I was looking at him, and he wasn't doing it for just 1 minute. He was doing it for 3, 4, 5 minutes. And his voice was so loud that you could hear the echo everywhere. And I didn't remember how I put my hand in my pocket. The only thing I realized next was I brought out 50 pounds, which I gave to him. There's this joy inside of me that I cannot express. And I can tell you that there's so much of spirituality that the praise chant represents. It's not just a social engagement.
He believes that all hands must be on deck to preserve the culture of chanting among the Yoruba worldwide.
There are a whole lot of institutions all across the world, in the United Kingdom, in the United States of America, in European countries where African studies are being done. You have a lot of professors who are actually studying the materials of our culture. And praise chanting is one of those materials that I've seen. An American student who's studying about the culture of Africa, and they pick those materials because they want to pieces them. But on many occasions, they do it from the outsider perspective. which means that they need indigenes, they need an insiders. And it's very important that we look at the praise chants from the perspective of an insider, as people that actually owns it.
Given the influx of youth into the praise chanting tradition and how chanters are now being sought after for weddings, birthdays and other events, I picked on 3 chanters: Ifeoluwa Ogunmakinwa, a chanter and Yoruba educator; Omotola Apata, a creative and innovative chanter who uses the violin to embellish his chants; and Azizat Majengbason, another young and versatile chanter. I visited Ifeoluwa Ogunmakinwa, an indigene of Ondo State and a graduate of Yoruba from Adeniran Ogunsanya College of Education. She is a chanter and an educator. Abike Chanter, as she is fondly called, graduated as one of the best in her department after being discouraged by classmates who often mocked her for having a bad voice texture.
I saw more courage and I shared with my classmates then. They were like, oh, then, and my mom is a Deeper Life member. So they were like, oh, you are using own church, you are using a church voice. In fact, I don't even have that spirit again because I wasn't motivated again. Since they told me I'm using a church voice. So on that day, the other group was having upper hands more than us, and it is our final exam, so nobody wanted to actually want to carry it over again. So they pushed me to the front that I should go and do. I was like, I'm not going to do. So they pushed me, and our lecturers are there. So when I stepped in, I was like, I don't even know. The first thing that came to my mind was Ogunlakaye. That was the reason why I actually chanted Ogunlakaye. Ogunlakaye Osimole. So when I did that, in fact, everybody was just clapping and every other stuff like that. So I stopped back. When the results came out, they said that, wow, we did well. That 3 people actually did well. They called their name. I was the last person that they called their name. I was like, me, that was in the church voice. Why would they actually call me? So when I came front, they asked that actually there's someone that actually did well more than them. Me that was using church voice, I was called out. I was like, I don't know.
She now lives on the income from chanting alongside her teaching profession as a Yoruba educator. This knowledge she vows to pass down through education for the preservation of the Yoruba culture.
For the year so far, I do Alagaduro stuff, and I chant. I do birthday surprises. We go and meet them, whether face off. We have the one we call face off. That's the one we send videos to them with their pictures, and we have the one we go to their house. We do with my talking drummers, and we go there. We entertain them. We make them happy, and so on like that. Concerning my chant, actually, it is actually a blessing for me to be a Yoruba teacher and also an Ewi chanter. Because we have a lot of Yoruba teachers, they are just Yoruba teachers, but they can't, not all of them, but that can chant. And if we are talking about chant, in fact, the way we youth are doing it now, okay, I know that all of us, we are just trying to so that our culture won't be destroyed totally. Because I bet you, it looks like where we are even going nowadays now. It's also those white people, they carry our culture more than the way values it. They value it more than us. Like they even do masquerade, they go, and you also like that. What we have. And I see no reason why we call ourselves the Yoruba people, and we can't, we are not even proud of of ourselves to speak the language.
She chanted the panegyrics of twins and that of the Ogun deity for me. After I came across this video of a chanter blending his voice with the sound from the violin, I got fascinated by the synergy inspired by modernity. I set out to meet with Omotola Apata from the Ijebu-Mushin area of Ogun State. The graduate of theatre arts from the University of Ibadan came with a violinist and a talking drummer. The blend was interesting and unique.
Traditional praise chant, or oriki, is often accompanied by the talking drum. But when you see a creative and innovative chanter who has brought in creativity and displaying with a violin, you will see that it has become a reflection of tradition and modernization.
With his pseudonym Apata Ganga, he explained how he grew up in a cultural environment that propelled his love for chanting.
Actually, I started many years ago, let me say 2008 professionally. But let me tell you, to be sincere and to be candid, everything that I've acquired till today is from chant. It has helped me to travel outside the country, even though I've not been to abroad, but at least I've been outside the country through the chant. And I've never in my life thought probably I would make millions of naira through chant.
His innovation has made him get more recognition.
If you notice something about my own style of chant, I bring in a violin. And one of the reasons I'm doing this because I realize that the world has turned to something whereby a lot of people want to listen to something international, foreign, you understand? So they believe that chant is only meant for elderly people.
Apata Ganga believes parents should encourage their children to learn their family oriki for them to have a good knowledge of their lineage.
Our parents, they have a lot of work to do because some children, they know how to speak. They don't know how to speak Yoruba. If you see them early in the morning, good morning, sir. Instead of you to prostrate and say Eka sir, Ati dobale na waek. So which means our parents, they have a lot of work to do.
I did not stop my sojourn here. I also took a step further to meet with another young and versatile chanter, Azizat Majengbason, who studied accounting at the Osun State College of Technology, SRK. Also known as Arike Super Chanter, this indigene of Ayetoro in Yewa North local government area of Ogun State, who developed an interest in chanting when she was a child, is proud of her culture.
I've always been part of these people doing cultural dance, chanting, komakewi, and so. Even till I got to secondary school, I still continue to the extent that my principal saw that in me and said, "Oh, you must be the Yoruba cultural prefect," added to the title they gave me before. And gradually into the tertiary institution too. So all these omolu that we do then, I would just go there. Anybody doing their day party like that, I would just go. I would tell them to give me their mic. I would chant, they will feel happy. So in short, that was just how I started. But I chose it as a career like 7 to 8 years back now.
She spoke passionately about the cultural significance of chanting and how it can be used to awaken morale in people.
I would tell you that there is more to chant than the way people outside are saying it. They see it as a chant, but to us, we can see that there is much more in it than just ordinary chant. Imagine you chanting someone now, praising their oriki, and the person was crying, as in the person started shedding tears. You did something in that place. What did you do? Memories. You brought back the memories that has been lost for a very time ago. Now, if you say that in the olden days, it is our forefathers that do it, all these older people, definitely we will forget our roots. And this thing is so sweet and interesting that we don't have to forget it.
After she explained to me the very chant that she first learnt from a Yoruba movie she watched, I asked if she could recall it.
Ìyá mi o, ewé mẹ́ta lẹ̀ bàbá ń jà lọ́jọ́ òní. Ẹ bàbá ń jáwé pẹ́pẹ́ńpẹ́ o. Ẹ bàbá ń jà tí tẹ̀tẹ̀ntẹ̀ lù jìnnà o. Ẹ bàbá ń jáwé olúyèrè o. Kọ́mọ mọ̀yé lọ mi lákọ lábo. Ire kémi ò mọ tètè kú o. Ire kọ́kọ́ ò mọ tètè kú o. ire kọ́mọ ò mọ tètè kú o ire lónìí orí mi àfìrè àjọ ń jọlé o ìyá mi àjọ ń jọlé o ilé ìyá òòjọ́ lé ọkọ àjọ ń jọlé o àjọ ń jọlé o ilé ọkọ òòjọ́ lé ọmọ.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Culture is beautiful, and that has been reflected here with what this creative and innovative chanter has told us. Now we'll be moving out to have an understanding of how people on the streets appreciate and know their oriki and their chants. So we'll be randomly picking on people to know how they feel, if they can recite their oriki. If they cannot, then you will recite it to them, and let's get to see their reaction to it. Good afternoon, sir. Good to be here.
This first man from Ijebu in Ogun State could not remember his ancestral chant, and Arike Super Chanter was on hand to awaken his consciousness.
Ẹ̀yin lọmọ mọ́lẹ́sẹ̀ bí alárì alárì mọ́lẹ́sẹ̀ wọn lẹ́ni ọmọ adọ́láwọ̀ bí orí wọn sì mọ̀ sí
kábíyèsí olúwa
ọmọ òun ṣe ni ọ̀yọ̀yọ̀yọ̀ ooo ọmọ olówó òdúrà ọmọ
ẹjọ ìyá mi.
He got so fascinated by the chant and could not help but spend some money from the little he had made for the day.
What I love oriki, it's amazing. When you are being praised, you want to do more than your ability, your capacity.
We did not stop there. This woman also got a dose of the sweetness in Arike Super Chanter's voice as she ushered her into the world of her ancestors through chants.
Ọmọ arún àgbàdo làlú, ọmọ arún gúgúrú wọlé ẹdẹ.
Ọmọ arún gbàdo wọlé, ọmọ arún gúdúgúdú wọlé ẹdẹ. Ọmọ kan kú lẹ́nìyàn, ọmọ kan kú òde. Ẹ̀yin lọmọ kan kú lọ́nà Èjìgbò nínú láwọn bàbá yín ni. Mo ní bàbá yín ló kàn kú olóòkú tí ó sì nílé bàbá tó gbé bí yín lọ́mọ. Bàbá yín ló kàn kú olóòkú tí ó sì ọmọ asákú máa wo máròyìn. Ọmọ olóríṣà kò jẹ́ kan. Èyí tí wọ́n. Ẹ̀yin lọmọ adóhùn mọ̀sùn pẹ́ di ìyẹ̀jẹ̀ ọmọ aládìyẹ ògògò mọ̀gà nínú láwọn bàbá yín ni. Ẹ gbọ́ bí wọ́n ti máa ń wí.
More people were visited to test the street knowledge of oriki or praise chant, and they all appreciated the gesture and squeezed some money into Arike Super Chanter's hand for making them see the beauty of chants again. One common feedback from them is that the Yoruba risk losing the preservation of their culture if chants were allowed to die. We did not stop at that. Arike and I also tried to test the knowledge of these teenagers on their ancestral roots. Ayomide Atonda from Abeokuta does not believe that there is anything special to learn about her ancestral chant.
The truth is, we should not just deceive ourselves. Everywhere we go, we speak English. Unless we want to just be too free going to our culture and speaking the language Yoruba or Igbo.
But when Arike Super Chanter started eulogizing her ancestry, she could not help but shed tears.
Ọba márùn ní jẹ lóde Ẹ̀gbá Aláké gbogbo wọn pátápátá ni wọ́n dádé olúbàrà ọba ní ṣe àgùrà ọba ní ṣe ọ̀ṣìlẹ̀ ọba ní olówó òdúró ọba ní.
I think there are like rhymes that we use to
Ayomikun Olatunji from Ijebu sees oriki as rhymes to appease angry people. Ayomide and Ayomikun may now have to go back to their parents for more knowledge on their ancestral oriki. It is estimated that there are more than 1,000 Yoruba chanters, some of whom are scattered across Africa and the world. As more youth pick interest in the art of chanting for the preservation of culture, it is expected that the government gets involved by recognizing them and giving Yoruba oral literature a stronger voice in the creative economy for the conservation of Nigeria's cultural identity. Ola Awakan, TVC News, Lagos.